Good evening, Yorktown. It's Supervisor Matt Slater coming to you from the Yorktown Town Boardroom for our COVID-19 question and answer. I'm joined, as always, by Councilman Ed Lachterman and Sergio Esposito, President of the Chamber of Commerce. Good evening. Thank you both for joining us. We have some updates on some numbers. The last update we received from the Department of Health was Friday. We had 21 active cases of COVID-19 in the town of Yorktown. That brings our total to 695. On Thursday, that number was at 22 active cases, so we decreased by one. But the good news, once again, is that there were no new cases on Friday. Again, we haven't received any new information over the weekend, but as of Friday, 21 active cases and a total of 695 in Yorktown. Again, we had on Thursday, we had Stacy Petrover, who's the president of the New York Presbyterian Hudson Valley Hospital Center, as well as Dr. Bill Higgins join us. Again, to reemphasize, active cases does not mean hospitalizations. Active cases is simply those cases that have been diagnosed within a 14-day period. And that number, again, is 21. But speaking of total hospitalizations, the governor shared some statistics today. They had tested 61,906 people yesterday and had 616 positive tests, which is less than 1% of all people tested. And across the entire state of New York, total hospitalizations is once again down to 869. And we wish all those battling COVID-19 and all of our frontliners, we wish them all the best, and we keep them in our thoughts and prayers. We are in Phase 3. Again, Phase 3 allows restaurants to have indoor service. They're capped at their capacity of 50%. Restaurants and bars, again, 50% capacity. Their tables are limited to 10 people, and staff must wear masks. Spas are now open. Nail salons are now open. Tattoo and piercing facilities are now open. Massage therapy is now
open.
Is now open. Tanning salons and waxing services are now open. We were anticipating places like the JV Mall, our fitness centers and movie theaters opening as part of Phase 4. The governor announced last week that that would not be the case, and we are waiting anxiously for more direction from the governor and his staff as to when we can expect those facilities to open. So unfortunately, despite planning, our fitness centers, our movie theaters, and the Jefferson Valley Mall will not open as part of Phase 4, again, directed by our partners in state government. I want to thank our Parks and Rec staff and our Parks and Rec Commission. Our parks and playgrounds are all open. They completed maintenance today, and so all of our parks and playgrounds are open. As a reminder, Sparkle Lake Beach is open to Yorktown residents only. It is a bit different than years past, so just keep that in mind when you do go visit. 11 a.m. to 6 p.m., it's open for swimming. Residents only, as I said. You must have your ID. You must sign in at the gate. The reason for the sign-in at the gate is in case, God forbid, we have to be contacted by the contact tracing program that's been implemented by the county and the state for a COVID-19 incident. We would know everyone who was at the beach. So you have to only park on the rec department side of Sparkle Lake, not the service building side, and you would walk then through the check-in gate, provide your ID as well as some other information, and then go enjoy one of our great natural assets. Here for town government, our workforce is back at 100%, first time in more than 3 months, nearly 4. So it's great to have our entire staff back. We are still going through the process of installing safeguards. Obviously, we have to make sure that everything is in place before we begin reopening to the public. We have just received, late last week, we had received these disinfectant packs that we've seen utilized in other towns and within our school districts, and now the town has several of those that are being properly distributed across all of our facilities for implementation. But our offices will remain closed for the time being until, once again, all those safeguards are installed and our staff is reacclimated. But all of our departments remain operational. So if you do have a need, if you do have an issue, please just pick up the phone and contact Town Hall and the respective department. We are here. We are working. We have been since this whole thing started, and now we're just doing so with 100% workforce. I also want to thank Parks and Rec once again and the Parks and Rec Commission. We had a very, very successful mobile movie night, and I want to thank the Jefferson Valley Mall. I want to thank the Yorktown Lions for sponsoring the event, as well as the Yorktown Athletic Club. We had a great showing of Toy Story 4 over at the Jefferson Valley Mall. I think everyone had a great, great time. Our next mobile movie night will be July 9th, and we'll be premiering Frozen 2. You can sign up online, and the Parks and Rec Department will be announcing when sign-ups are available, but you'll be signing up online utilizing our new online platform for program registrations. As a reminder, one more time, bulk pickup. And I know it's starting to rain pretty good out there, but bulk pickup. Section 7 started on June 22nd. Section 1, July 6th. Section 2, July 20th. Section 3, July 27th. And now Section 4 is set to start on August 17th. If you do have things out on the curb, we ask that you bring them back 10 feet until your date, which we just announced. You can find all this on our website or on the COVID-19 platform. Dashboard. We also have a revised holiday pickup schedule for 4th of July. Kitchen trash collections, Monday and Thursday collections will be changed. Monday, June 29th and Wednesday, July 1st. And if you have Tuesday and Friday collections, you're going to be changed to Tuesday, June 30th and Thursday, July 2nd. Again, this is all due to the July 4th holiday. Recycling collections, if you pick up on Thursday, collections will be picked up on Wednesday, July 1st, and Friday collections will be picked up Thursday, July 2nd. And again, all of this is found right on the yorktownny.org website. As a reminder, there's no town board meeting for this Tuesday, as was originally scheduled in December. So no town board meeting this Tuesday. Our pools, we are hoping to have a decision for our pools at our next town board meeting. We are still analyzing and working closely with our Parks and Rec staff and our Parks and Rec superintendent about the potential use of our pool, as well as with our finance department. I just want to clear up, there is a little misconception out there. The pool, the expenses of the pool are paid for by the revenue derived from the purchasing of pool passes. Since we were originally told that pools would be closed, obviously we didn't start selling pool passes. Consequently, we don't have the revenue right now needed to offset the expenses. As a reminder, junior pool remains closed and would remain closed throughout the entire summer season because of construction which was halted due to COVID-19. We are looking at seeing if there's any way for us to safely open Shrub Oak Pool. However, and I mean this genuinely, public health and safety is our number one concern. And so we need to make sure that if that facility were open, we were able to adhere to the COVID-19 guidelines and parameters, which of course add an additional cost to the facility operations and understanding what the financial impact would be on the overall budget. As a reminder, we are short on revenue. Projected sales tax revenue is expected to be a shortfall of $1 million. And so every dollar and every shortfall really adds up. And so the town board is looking at this holistically. We're trying to be very methodical and diligent in our approach. And our goal is to have a decision made at our next town board meeting. Town camps, again, remain closed. We have actually announced some specialty camps through the Parks and Rec Department. There's a science camp. There's a hiking camp. Those are being offered. And so, again, hats off to the Parks and Rec Department for being able to pull this together and our partners for making it a reality. You can find that information on the Parks and Rec website. And as a reminder, the private camps in Yorktown are operational and expected to open later this week. And finally, I know speaking a lot tonight, and I apologize, but I do want to talk about an incident that occurred in one of our neighboring municipalities. For those who have not heard, an individual who was down in Florida returned back for a high school graduation. Did not happen here in Yorktown, but it did happen in a neighboring community. Unfortunately, that individual was we believe that individual was pre-symptomatic or asymptomatic, and as a result, there have been confirmed COVID-19 cases from those who came into contact with that individual. And I say this as a reminder that we have not defeated the coronavirus, not at all. And despite the fact that we're getting closer to the phase 4 reopening and we seem to be moving closer to enjoying the rest of our summer as we normally would, there is, and Stacy Petrova, again, the president of Hudson Valley Hospital Center, said it best. It's not the new normal, it's just the normal. And so it's very important still, social responsibility, social distancing, masks. And it might seem silly to some, but for others, it's going to save their lives because that COVID-19 virus is still active here in our community, here in our state, and of course across the country. So please, you have to continue to adhere to the parameters that we're putting forth, have to continue to make those socially responsible decisions. And we've done this really to try to provide as much information for you, the public, to make the best decisions you can for yourself, for your family, for your neighbors, and for the other people within our community. That doesn't stop. That can't stop. You have to continue to make those socially responsible decisions, even though the numbers continue to be on a downward trajectory, and that's a great sign, and a round of applause goes to this entire community for their diligence and their efforts to get us to this point. It can very easily swing back the other way. So let's stay focused, and let's continue to make the right decisions for each other and respect each other. This is a Q&A, and I'm going to bring in Councilman Lachterman to say a few words. As a reminder, if you have a question, post it up on our Facebook page, and Councilman Lachterman will relay it and we'll discuss it. Also, if you'd like to call in, 914-962-5722, extension 216. And the very last thing I'm going to say is, this is going to be one of our last Q&A sessions. We do anticipate coming back as more information is provided as we hit phase 4, as need be. But we are not planning on having any more scheduled Q&A sessions from this point forward. And I again want to thank Councilman Lachterman. I want to thank Sergio for really your dedication in helping our small businesses, helping our residents and small businesses continue to manage through this completely unprecedented situation that none of us, obviously ever experienced before. But again, providing that information so people can make the right decisions. And the other person I have to thank, and he won't come out here because he hides in the back, is Tom Ciangela, who is my TYYP. Thank you, your producer, the best TV producer you can find in Westchester, who's been here every single time we've done a live video update. And this number, I believe, is our 46th number that we've done since this whole thing started. So, Tommy, thank you so much for your dedication. It really means a lot. It doesn't mean it's over. We'll be back, but again, on a less scheduled basis.
Sure. And in this case, let's make sure we pay attention to the man behind the curtain instead of ignoring him. Thank you, Tom.
Councilman, you want to say a few words? Again, if you want to call in, it's 962-5722, extension 216, or you can just send us a message over on Facebook, and Councilman Lachterman can relay that. But you want to say a few words?
Yeah, sure. It's been a long road, and we still have a little place to go here. We're not quite there. I think that Supervisor Slater, you hit the nail on the head that we need to just stay smart. We need to make decisions, and I'm going to talk a little bit from the business point of view. It's really, really important for us to follow the guidelines coming out. They're added expenses. Trust me, I know that all too well. Sometimes it makes the job uncomfortable. Having a massage studio where my therapists have to wear masks, eye shields, and our clients have to wear masks does not make it an easier situation, but it does make it a safer situation. And bottom line, that safety is the ultimate goal here. And like we said, it's coming down. We're about to enter phase 4. Unfortunately, with the gyms and those the health clubs, movie theaters, malls, there's still a roadblock to get over. And I know the governor is looking at some numbers.
I will
so we'll have to
remind.
see.
Yes, thank you for reminding.
We will have to see what happens
Thank
there.
you so much. I appreciate it.
I think
thanks, you too.
we're going to get through this, and in the summer we could start to open up more and more and get things going. So, thank you all for the patience. Thank you for the support. You know, because on the town government level, we don't make the policies. We need to enforce them. We need to make sure that we're doing the right thing for our citizens out there. And, you know, I want to give a really big shout out to you, Supervisor Slater. You know, your leadership through this has been unbelievable, because I have had to come to you for advice in different things, and looking through a different set of eyes is amazing. You know, I don't know if anyone.
Okay. So again, we're back. Just quickly, we had a power outage as the storm went by. I understand that we're up on Cablevision. I understand FiOS is down still, so our producer's working on that. We were just catching up on the loan forgiveness, Sergio. So if you want to continue with that conversation.
Sure. And then we were talking about if you will qualify for forgiveness, if your business would qualify for forgiveness on the PPP loan with a short form that they just came out with. And it's I believe it's the 3508 Easy form is what they're calling it. And if you meet one of the following categories, then you qualify for the short form for forgiveness. If not, you can still apply for forgiveness with the long form. And again, real quick, if you are self-employed and have no employees, if you didn't reduce salaries or wages of your employees by more than 25%, or if you experience reduction in business activity as a result of directives related to COVID-19, you qualify for the Easy form. When are you going to get the forgiveness form? I get this question almost 1 million times a day. I'm exaggerating, but it is one of the most prevalent questions that the Chamber has been getting. And you will receive your form when the bank that you received a loan from, that you received funding from, sends it to you. That's pretty much basically how that's going to work, and they will send you the form at the time. Now, the way it works is, I believe they extended it to 9 months before your first payment on the loan has to be made, and that would be at 0 interest. Until you get to the 9 months, then it would be 1%. But if you get forgiveness between now and that 9 months, you'll get the form by then. You won't have to pay any interest, and you could possibly qualify for 100% forgiveness. There is some kind of a initiative for not-for-profits. George Latimer announced it. It's a loan for not-for-profits for sanitizing and PPE. I believe you could get some information on that on the Westchester
We'll
County.
put that up on our website as well.
Yeah,
on the
okay,
COVID-19
so you'll get it
dashboard.
at yorktownny.org. And that's pretty much the updates. We are heading for Phase 4. Unfortunately, gyms and those types of establishments aren't going, as the supervisor mentioned earlier, will not be opening in Phase 4. We don't know exactly when they will be opening, but again, it's pertinent that everybody follows the proper social distancing, proper, hygiene, and just, wear your mask when you can, when you have to, when you should. You're not cool if you don't. You're not cool if you do. It's just the right thing to do, and we really have to continue with that trend.
Thank you, Sergio. I do want to point out that Judge Lagonia did message us that the court's open only for arraignments and limited hearings and trials, but the lobby remains closed. Judge, thank you very much. Really appreciate the information as we continue to provide that to our residents. But if anyone has any needs of the court, we encourage you to call the courthouse, and the court staff will be happy to help with your needs. Any other questions online? I think we lost half our audience once we went out. But again, if you do have a question, you can call here, 914-962-5722, extension 216. You can ask a question right on the Facebook page. And I also, we were thanking a bunch of people before, I also want to thank our first responders from YVAC and MVAC to our fire departments, Mohegan and Yorktown, and of course the Yorktown Police Department. All have just been absolutely incredible during this entire time. Again, not saying it's over, but just want to make a point to thank all of our first responders here in town for their continued sacrifice and commitment to our community. So thank you all. Really appreciate it.
Ironically, we just got thanked by the captain of our Mohegan volunteer ambulance corps, Anthony Milo. And, Anthony, no thanks are needed. You guys are out there day in, day out, doing what needs to happen, and we really appreciate it.
Yeah. Don't thank us. Thank you.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So again, questions can be posted up on the Facebook page, and we can answer them that are COVID-19 related. If you want to call in, it's 914-962-5722, extension 216. We apologize once again for the thunderstorm, which kicked power out and cable out, but we're back up and running, at least for Cablevision and here on Facebook. And Tommy, did we get back on Fios? We're not on Fios right now. But for those, again, looking for an update on the numbers, we have 21 active cases as of Friday, which is a decrease of 1. And once again, I'm happy to report there were no new cases as of Friday. We haven't received any new data from the Department of Health over the weekend, but no new cases as of Friday. Statewide, total hospitalizations is at 869, so that continues to decrease, which is great to hear. And the positive test results is still less than 1% as of yesterday. And so we continue to flatten the curve. We continue to take all the necessary precautions. But as a reminder, as we've been saying before, we saw this in a neighboring community just this past weekend, please wear the mask, social responsibilities, social distancing. Just make the right decisions. Respect yourselves, respect your neighbors, respect your families, and continue to make the right choices and not put people inadvertently in harm's way. As we saw, again, in a neighboring community, the virus is still here. It can still spread very, very quickly. So making sure we make those right choices is still crucial despite the reopening process that we're going through. Any questions on Facebook?
No questions came up. I actually just wanted to make sure I clarify something because I had one of my employees reach out to me. So Sergio, while we had the blackout, was talking about the stimulus checks, and there's also been questions on unemployment. Please be aware that these are not coming in the form of a check. They're coming in the form of a debit card, and some people think it's a scam. They don't want to do anything with a debit card, but that is how they're coming. I think that the stimulus is through, is that through KeyBank as well? Do you know, Sergio? Or?
I'm not sure. When I received mine, it was actually a paper check.
You did receive a paper check?
I did receive a paper check, yeah.
All right, because in the beginning they were getting cards. We had quite a few.
Yeah, it caused a lot of confusion
Yes.
because of usually the scams that you see are go get a debit
Sure.
card.
Yep.
So,
And I know that some of my people had received their unemployment, even though they filled out for direct deposit, they got a debit card to start off with.
that I heard that was going on.
Yeah.
The unemployment was definitely coming that way. Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah. Got to be very careful with those scams. I was actually talking with some members of our police department last week, and I asked, what they were seeing the most out in the community, and they said it was the scams. They said that's what they're seeing being the most prevalent crime being committed in our town right now.
Yeah.
And
So
it's a
especially
shame.
for our seniors, just be very, very careful who you give your information to and what that information is. And if you don't know who you're talking to, don't give them any information that is sensitive, that shouldn't be shared with strangers. So just keep in mind.
Well, to jump into that scam, let me just, Carol texted that my mother-in-law Rose got a card for her stimulus. So that is happening still with the stimulus.
Right, for the stimulus package.
Right. As for the scams, I was just saw Mr. Thompson the other day at the diner for
Register, how can I
breakfast,
help you?
and he said the scam that he
Win my
was
favorite
part of
account.
was he was told that he was he told that he had won $2 million and they wanted some information to deposit the money. He of course said no, thank you, and hung up the phone. But that's a scam that's going around now too. You've won something, and they want banking information. If anyone ever calls you and asks you for banking information to deposit, even if
I will
it's a
let 'em know.
stimulus check or whatever, don't give them any information, please. That is the huge way that they fish for your information, and we could have some
They are still
huge
on paper.
problems.
I actually got a call from somebody pretending to be from the bank, and they told me that my loan was not eligible for forgiveness. Just to incite, like, oh my God, I
million
can't
a
believe it.
month, you
What
said?
could I do? And I'm like, all right, yeah, no problem. What loan? I go to them, and then they couldn't answer the questions, but
Got it.
I engaged with them because I knew it was, but
Awesome.
the best thing
Lynn,
to
you're
do
the
is
best.
just hang up, right?
Yeah.
But yeah, they're out there. You got to be
Not going
careful.
Yeah, we're not going anywhere. Don't worry. Thanks, Lynn. Sounds good. Appreciate it. That was our favorite accountant, Lynn, with some helpful information once again. Lynn, thank you so much for always calling in and providing additional information. So Lynn wanted to just remind everybody, if you're getting one of those envelopes with a card, don't call the number on the envelope. Go to irs.gov. That's a good way of verifying that you're getting it. Key Bank is the card for unemployment. That's something else that she wanted to make sure. They're still processing paper checks, but they can only do 20 million paper checks a month, so they're estimating it to take until September. So that's why they're integrating also the debit cards as well.
Yeah, and when you talk about scams, just in general, right? If somebody calls you up and they're pretending to be from your bank, let's say it's a TD Bank, right? Say, okay, no problem, I'll call you back. Hang up, and if they give you a phone number to call back, disregard that number, right? Take your debit card, your credit card, whatever card you have, your bank statement, flip it over, get the phone number for the bank there where you know it's going to be legitimate, and call that number back. And then you could get to the bottom. This way, you know you're in the proper channel, and you're not, speaking to somebody that may not be from where they're saying they really are. That's how you do it. You say, okay, no problem, I'll call you back. You hang up, and then you verify that the number you're calling from some kind of paperwork that the bank has sent you, or you behind your debit card or credit card. Is a great way to confirm that you know you're on the phone with the right people.
You could even Google your bank number too, just to make sure. Like
I'd say you're absolutely right. But I like to confirm it with something that I know came directly from the bank, and that's it. And so I usually, if somebody calls me, I say, okay, no problem. Hang up, and then I flip my card over and I call whoever it is. Whatever's on that number's on that card is usually the legit number.
my eyes aren't good enough to read that all the time.
Mine aren't either. That's what these are for.
I saw that we had some.
We have two questions that have come up. Does Yorktown have a plan on enforcing the quarantine for those who travel to the high COVID states?
So, I think this goes back to what we were talking about earlier, which is making smart decisions. I can tell you that here for town government and town employees, we've already told our employees that if they go to a high COVID state, in conjunction with the quarantine order that the governor has put out, that they're going to have to quarantine, and frankly, that if they choose to go to those places, then they're not going to be. They're going to have to use their time in order to quarantine. So it's not an extra 2-week vacation that they're going to get. And that's, frankly, I think, been met very positively by our employees because they understand. I mean, we're giving people, again, information not to go to certain places. And again, we had this, and I saw a second question about the graduation, but we saw this in one of our neighboring communities. Again, I don't want to get into specifics as to which one, but we had a neighboring community, not the town of Yorktown, where an individual came back from one of those areas, one of those states that right now is seeing a very high increase in COVID-19 cases, and we're seeing related infections within that community. So again, socially responsible decisions. Just use some common sense. We're giving as much information as we can. We can't make the decisions for you. That's not our role, but we're providing it with you. We're providing it to you with as much accuracy as we can, so you can make that decision for you, your family, and the rest of our community. Quite frankly, because if you don't, you're going to potentially inadvertently put one of us, somebody out in the community, somebody at Uncle Giuseppe's, wherever it might be, in a potentially dangerous situation.
Absolutely. Any answer regarding the regional sports network fee of $10.47 plus tax per month?
No, Heidi, I apologize. That was a Heidi. I know who that is. And no, I apologize, Heidi. I owe you an answer, and I will get it to you. That's a non-COVID related question.
Yep, it is. I didn't read it beforehand.
Yep,
so
that's a non-COVID related question.
But the fact that we haven't had sports has been is a COVID related. But
true. Well, spring training starting, and we're going to see a 60-game MLB schedule, and the NBA starting, and NHL starting.
I just think it's amazing that it's June, almost July, and the Mets haven't lost a game yet.
Listen, we're still in first. We're going to be in first for a while. Don't worry.
You just upset half the people in Yorktown. Not me, by the way, but the other half.
I'm a big Yankee fan. Not going to deny it.
I won't hold it against you.
Great.
It's okay.
That's great.
But again, if you want to ask questions, you can pop it up on our Facebook page. You can call us directly, 914-962-5722, extension 216. As a reminder, as we stated earlier, this will be our last scheduled Q&A session until there's more definitive information that we can provide and answer questions about. Again, the purpose of our updates and of the Q&A sessions, again, this being our 46th video update, and there's been other updates that we've been providing from the town, via Facebook and email, and we're going to still provide those updates in the proper manner. But the whole point of it is to give you as much information to make the best decision, the socially responsible decision that is best for you, your family, and our community. And the numbers continue to reflect that, and the community's been great. We're down to 21 active cases. We had no new cases as of Friday. Again, Saturday and Sunday we didn't get information from the Department of Health, but as of Friday, no new cases, 21 active in the town of Yorktown, which really is a sign of the tremendous effort that everyone in our community has put in, but we have to keep it up, have to continue to practice social distancing, wear your mask. I got my mask right here, that courtesy of our friends over at Sports Barn. I bought the Town Strong mask over there, but got to keep doing it. And as we saw again in a neighboring community, it can change on a dime, and then we're going to see our numbers go back up, and people are going to get nervous, and people are going to be at risk. So it's not worth making foolish decisions. So please just continue to do your best. And parents with your kids, same thing. Listen, my 4-year-old is dying to see his friends. We had his preschool graduation. He graduated from pre-K yesterday.
Congratulations, Charlie.
And he was very happy about that. But he was also heartbroken because he couldn't see any of his friends.
Yeah.
And so I get it. I get it. But still, and I've seen pictures of these prom parties and all a bunch of stuff. Listen, I'm telling you, let's not be foolish, okay? And the kids do deserve some activity, and the kids deserve some closure to their school year and into their high school experience. But just make sure it's done safely, because at the end of the day, it's not going to be worth getting someone sick, put in the hospital, or potentially worse, because we aren't making the correct decisions.
I will say that the one of the initiatives that we set forth with the Reboot Yorktown Task Force, and of course with your guidance, was the outdoor dining, and I think that's been a huge success. I've actually had people comment, call the chamber and comment that it has a Florida kind of feeling, like that people are outdoors and there's dining outdoors, and I think it's been quite successful for our businesses. And I'm gonna let you in on a little secret. The Yorktown Chamber may or may not be coming in front of the town board to see if we can make it permanent.
Well, it is permanent. No, it's permanent.
No, I'm talking about in future years.
Well,
in non-COVID years.
What we did was we codified the Reboot Yorktown Task Force recommendation of the permitting process, which again, we actually reduced the red tape, cut the red tape significantly.
Significantly. Absolutely,
and from an 8-week process to a 5-day process, and we also suspended the fees, which at the end of the day really does hurt the bottom line, but it's a helping hand to our businesses who've just been ravished right now with the COVID-19 crisis, and we want to see Winston's and Mount Kisco. They're not opening their doors again. They announced it over the weekend. I mean, that is heartbreaking.
But the businesses are doing...
Winston's in Mount Kisco. Remember Winston's restaurant in Mount Kisco? They had the cool rooftop bar.
Yeah. Well, neither will Anthony's Coal-Fired Pizza in White Plains.
Yeah, right.
The businesses though are doing better for it. They are adhering to the social distancing, and it is bringing in revenue. So I mean, it does help the town, right? But I got to tell you, it really changes the feeling of the town as well. And it's nice, and of course, not every restaurant has the opportunity to have the outdoor dining. Maybe it's their setup, maybe it's where their location is. But it did help quite a number of restaurants, I think. And like I said, I think it made the town a little nicer.
You know what? Some of the naysayers said, who's going to want to eat out by a parking lot? I ate at the diner twice for breakfast. Met Mr. Thompson there both times. We went to Little Sorrento. You know what?
Supervisor Slater, how can I help you?
We want to support the businesses, but it was nice. It was nice to sit out, even with traffic, even with cars going around, and it made us feel very comfortable. And, it's something that I want to touch base on because, we talk about the needs for making those good decisions. If you have the party and the kids
Sure.
are wearing masks
Yep.
and trying to socially distance.
I can walk you through that, no problem.
You know what? That's
and I'll do that momentarily so
That's
everyone
not
else
a
can as well.
huge thing to ask. From a business point of view,
Yep, no problem.
there
Yep.
are a lot of things being asked of us, and I have clientele that need to come in and feel comfortable.
Well, that's the
And-
other thing.
Yeah,
Right.
and I thank God that they were, they came back in droves this first week that we opened. We opened on Tuesday in phase 3. And the biggest comment talking to my clients is that, hey, you know what? I felt comfortable here. I felt like you were going not only, to what is required, but above and beyond, because we did. We took some steps that go above and beyond what the governor was looking for the safety of our team and the safety of our clients. And that communication and them knowing it really makes a huge difference. And it's the one way we'll get comfortable getting back into our routines.
Well, it's also in your best interest, right? You want to make people comfortable, right? Because I got to be honest, if I haven't had this experience, right? Especially in Yorktown. But if I walk by a place and I'm not comfortable with the way it looks or how they're running things, or I'm not going to go in.
Sure.
I mean, I think that's, so it's in the best interest of any establishment, any business, to make it as comfortable as possible and follow the guidelines above and beyond. And this way you get the customers to come back in, your clients, your customers, the revenue, so.
Susan had just called and she asked just to be walked through where she can find the statistics that we've been sharing, just in case she, as we've said, since it's our last Q&A session, even though we're going to continue to provide information. But the town of Yorktown has a COVID-19 impact dashboard on our website. And as we get data from the County Department of Health, we share that data transparently and openly so people know what we're looking at. Within that dashboard, there's a map of the entire county. And there's a smaller, I understand it's a smaller box, but that box looks like a little key, and it lists every town, every municipality, every village, and it tells how many total cases, active cases, new cases, and Yorktown's really easy to find because we were always the last town on the list, so you don't have to go rummaging through, but it tells us again on that impact dashboard that we had 695 active cases as of Friday, 695 total cases, 21 active cases, and no new cases, and that's the number that we're really thrilled to see, is that 0 new cases. Which is terrific. But again, we had on Thursday, I had Stacey Petrover and Dr. Higgins from New York Presbyterian Hudson Valley Hospital understand what active means. Active does not mean hospitalizations. We don't have that breakdown by municipality. Active just means someone who is diagnosed within a 14-day period. That's how it's not really rocket science, but that's how they're defining these active cases. Because, again, that also goes with the quarantine, the 14-day quarantine, so that's where they're getting that 14-day number from. Yes, I've heard from people who had symptoms beyond the 14 days. So it's not necessarily something that we need to memorialize and celebrate over, but it gives us a good point that the number and the active cases continues to decline, and that curve continues to be flattened. And Susan, we're still going to provide you the information. We're still going to provide you as much information as we can through the dashboard. As we have significant changes, we'll provide these types of updates. But the Q&A sessions we're gonna shelve for a little while, especially as we have 4th of July coming and summer months. People can get.
Yeah, I mean, and someone can always send. I mean, especially with the Yorktown Chamber of Commerce and with the supervisor, who often gives out his extension and email address. I mean, you could always send the chamber a question if you want to know something about businesses, if you want to know something about the loan process, the forgiveness. We're here, www.yorktownchamber.org, info@yorktownchamber.org, 914-245-4599. I got too many businesses and too many numbers in my head. 914-245-4599. And the supervisor and
Susan, you can always call directly,
914.
914-962-5722, extension 200. That's my direct line. Or you can always email me at mslater@yorktownny.org, and we're happy to provide any information that you're looking for, especially if you haven't had an update or seen the numbers over a certain amount of time and you're curious to see where we're at. I'm happy to provide any information that the town has in its possession.
You know, we were talking about restaurants on this side of town, but, you know, I want to give a shout out to how nice they did at the Frankie and Augie's,
up in Jefferson Valley.
because the three
Yeah.
of us actually went there when that first all started
Yeah.
for lunch.
They're doing a great job.
Yeah, really nice job in there with their tent and outdoor dining. And I hear also that the winery at St. George has a
Beautiful. And you know
Nice
what they're
patio.
doing? They do a Friday night movie night right outside. It's
I think
it's
they
pretty
did
cool.
Jaws.
Yeah, I saw the Jaws.
They had
there.
Grease.
Yeah.
Oh, did they have
Yeah, they had Grease.
No, but there's so many. I mean, we were up at Peter Pratt's. You know, you've got Nadine's, you've got Furcy's. I mean, there's just, you know, so many places.
It's really
around
affected-
town that you can go
Yeah.
outside and get
Yeah.
a good meal and enjoy some good ambiance, quite frankly.
It's really affected all of the businesses across all the 5 hamlets. It's
Yeah.
not just a Heights
Right.
area kind of thing.
Right,
yeah.
absolutely.
Which is fantastic.
So here's a question. How will New York monitor traveling by car? Can people drive across the border?
Great question. It's a great question. I'd love to know the answer myself. That's a question, frankly, for the governor's office.
Well, you can drive. There are no roadblocks or anything.
Right, exactly. I mean, I would say this, and we got this from when this whole thing first started. We were joined up here by Chief Robert Noble, absolutely tremendous leader in our community. And Chief Noble, and it's always stuck with me. It's not always about enforcement; it's about a mindset. And so, what we're basically saying is, we're just trying to get this mindset of don't go to these places because you're going to put yourself in a potentially dangerous situation. And then if you do contract the coronavirus, what you're doing then is bringing it back here to New York. So I think in this case, it's less about enforcement. It's not like I talked to the governor personally, but I think it's less about enforcement and more about a mindset. And that mindset is just avoid these high COVID states that we're seeing increase. I think, frankly, that there's other states that I think should be part of that list, but that's neither here nor there. But, you know, so again, I think it's about a mindset, not necessarily about enforcement. Any other questions on Facebook?
Well, there was a comment that, actually a comment from Stephanie Ann that basically said the same thing you did. Thank you, Stephanie. And Bill asked or suggested the town should put the COVID numbers on Facebook like Peekskill and Cortland do. But I'm not sure if we can.
I mean, we have. We've been utilizing the impact dashboard, but I mean, I'm happy to do that as well. I mean, multi-channel. That's the name of the game.
Absolutely.
So, you know,
Keep
now
that-
that we're reducing the number of these types of updates, we're going to be much more aggressive on social media and with our email blast. So again, if you haven't signed up for our email blast, another great time to do it. And we do provide public notices on a number of different things, from free mask giveaways to public meetings to COVID-19 numbers. And you can do that all on our website, and then you get those updates delivered right to your inbox from the town of Yorktown.
Yeah, the information's readily available.
With that, closing remarks, Sergio?
Yeah, I am excited that we are in Phase 3. I'm excited that we're moving into Phase 4. Keep up the good work, folks. Keep the social distancing. Be socially responsible. Things seem to be kind of getting back to normal. If you're not comfortable going somewhere, then don't go. If you are, then that's fantastic, you know. Remember to shop local. I mean, the businesses around here, they really need it. We've been lucky thus far. There haven't been a lot of reporting of businesses that aren't coming back, and that was one of the initiatives that the Chamber really pushed for with promoting a lot of these places and keeping everybody going. And the folks in town, you guys did a great job keeping our businesses going with eating out and getting takeout and taking the pledge and the challenge. And so thanks to everybody, and stay strong.
Councilman Lachterman?
You know, I just want to once again thank your leadership, Supervisor Slater. Great to be part of that team, and you know, you've been very inclusive of everyone, making sure the decision process was there. I also want to really give a big shout out to the Chamber, because you guys have really been on top of all of the information, making sure it gets out. Sergio, you've given up your Sunday dinner time, which, you know, being here, I know that's big, and you've been here repeatedly, and it's huge. It's really, you know, the fact that our chamber, run by a local guy who wants to make sure that all of that information is out there is phenomenal. So thank you. You know, I'm glad I've been able to help keep the town informed with this. I guess because other than Matt, I'm probably the most computer literate of all of us. Otherwise, one of the other council members may have joined in, but they've been behind us the whole time.
Yep.
and with us, and this has been a very collaborative effort to try to get through it. And you know, we just won't stop fighting for the town of Yorktown and making sure that that we keep you in mind and do the best that we can. So thank you all for tuning in on these, and as needed, we will definitely make the time to be back and go through what needs to be gone through.
Great. You know, again, I really want to thank Tom Ciangela, and I can't say it enough, but, you know, 46 times he's been here during this crisis. Just been an absolute great asset for the town. Tom, thank you so much. I hope we don't lose power as I say that again. But thank you so much for being here for us and for the residents of Yorktown. It means an awful lot. Sergio, can't thank you enough. You know, you've really helped the businesses get through. And your leadership in the Reboot Yorktown Task Force has been tremendous as well. And it's been a great partnership between the town and the chamber and the entire business community. So thank you very much. And our favorite DJ, Councilman Lackerman.
Let's make sure we all have a very happy and safe 4th of
Yep.
July, too.
Absolutely. But, you know, I got to just say one more time how proud I am of this community, how proud I am to be in this position, in this community during this time, because I truly haven't had time to reflect on it. I haven't had time to fully process it, but just thinking back about, you know, some of the moments and some of the amazing things that I've seen from these residents, from the residents of Yorktown, from neighbors. I mean, it's been incredible. It's just been incredible how we are so much stronger when we come together, and we came together. We continue to stand together, and I hope we continue to do that as we continue to reopen. I think it's critical. I think it's so important. I think we've proved our strength by standing together and by standing for each other. And that's what this town does best. I said it a bunch of times. It's the Yorktown way. We don't back down from a fight. We lead from the front. And it's the Yorktown way. We're there whenever a neighbor needs a helping hand. We're always there to help each other up. And that's what this town has done so well during this COVID-19 crisis. And that's what that makes me just so proud to say that I'm the supervisor of the town of Yorktown. So I thank all the residents. I thank all of our first responders. I thank all of our frontline workers. Everyone who's played just a pivotal role in getting our community to this point. It's not over yet. We're not declaring victory. We still have to make those smart choices. So stay focused, stay safe, stay healthy, and we'll talk to you soon. Thanks so much, Yorktown.